Hi friends, welcome back. Rigel Smith here, and today I'm going to teach you about healthy hormones that lead to lively libido. So this is designed to be a continuing education course for those of you already using doTERRA essential oils. If that's not you and you need an introduction to essential oils, please send me a message or look below this YouTube link and there will be a link to my introduction of essential oils made easy. So for those of you already using doTERRA, you already know how amazing these oils can be. So today let's talk about ways that we can use them to support healthy hormones and as a result have some elevated libido. So I'm going to pull up my screen to share with you guys. And we are going to rock this out. So for those of you who have not met me, my name is Rigel Smith. I've been using doTERRA essential oil since 2011, where I've been professionally educating people how to make simple lifestyle changes to live their best life, incorporating essential oils. And this is a picture of my little girl, Nova. She is 4 years old, and she is a result of healthy living with doTERRA. So before I found essential oils, my hair was falling out, I was stressed, my hormones were nutso all over the place. I was extremely moody, and I was on the verge of an autoimmune disease. And I could not get pregnant at that time. I was trying and it was not working out. So I had to first take care of myself and get healthy from the inside out. And I'll share a little bit about how I used some of the products to do that. And as a result, I was able to get healthy and bring this beautiful little girl into the world. So doTERRA is near and dear to our life for many reasons. So let's first chat about what we're going to learn today. I'm going to teach you about what are hormones and how do they affect our body. What are the symptoms of a hormone imbalance? How can we support healthy hormone balance? And bonus recipes to enhance libido. So let's start with how this may be relevant for you. So we're going to talk about, is this a reflection of anyone here? And I would love for you guys to kind of in your head start ticking off some of these things that may be relevant. Do you have hyper or hypothyroidism? Do you have adrenal fatigue? What about difficulty losing weight? Trouble sleeping? Mood swings? Infertility? Poor memory? Diabetes 2? How's your libido? What about hot flashes? PMS? So start to take an inventory, and if you're checking things off, these are things that could be a sign of hormonal imbalance. And all of these are a sign of something that is off balance somewhere within the body, okay? So these are symptoms of imbalance somewhere within the body. So I'm gonna share with you some things that may be able to help bring our body back to balance. So what are hormones? Well, they're basically messengers within the body that send little chemical messengers and tell our body how to react. So they affect just about everything within our body. This includes our metabolism, our ability to regulate our blood sugar, our sex drive, immune support, behavior, that flight or fight response. It also affects growth and some other things. So really our hormones are very, very important, and we need to do everything that we can to help set them up for success. So in return, they can be sending the right messengers to our body. So here's some examples of what happens if our hormones go wild. And we talked about some of these on that checklist, but some other things that hormone imbalance can trigger are migraines, or that sense of just feeling absolutely exhausted. Or perhaps you've tried everything to lose weight, including proper diet, nutrition, exercise, and it's just not happening. It could be things like difficulty sleeping, even low motivation. The way we feel can be linked to our hormones. Caffeine dependence, so even feeling like we have to have caffeine to function, could result in hormones gone wild, headaches, and some other things. So here's the foundation to healthy hormones that we're going to chat a little bit about today. And it's going to come down to how can we reduce toxins in our environment? How can we reduce stress in our lives? And then setting up the foundation of proper nutrition and supplementation to really give our body what it needs to be in homeostasis. So stress, we all feel it. Whether it's waiting at a train when we're late and we're trying to hurry somewhere, whether it's something our partner says to us, or we're just crunched under deadlines, it's almost something that's unavoidable within our life. But what we do have is the opportunity to choose how we respond to it. We have the opportunity to set up routines in our life that help decrease stress. And we also have some doTERRA products that will help decrease the physiological and the physical triggers of stress within our body. So the stress cycle looks like this. There's something in our body there's something outside of our body that signals stress. So let's take, for example, there's a train and you're late to work and you don't want to wait, okay? So your body starts to react and it starts to send emergency signals to your body. So your body thinks it's an emergency. Oh my goodness, I'm not going to make it. Something's not right. Your heart starts to beat faster. It starts to stress things out. And then you are more stressed as a result of that. And throughout the rest of the day, because of that elevated stress cycle, little things can trigger it. And it has a physiological stress on your body that sometimes is called fight or flight response. So we want our body to it's either going to be in rest or digest mode, which is the part of our body where we're relaxed and we can rest and our body can digest food and we can have nutrients delivered where it needs to be, or it's in this fight mode where it really thinks that there is a stressor. And that response comes from back in the day when there was a stressor, it was because some creature was going to eat us. And it can still send those same stress hormones throughout our body, affecting all sorts of things. So here's a picture of the autonomic nervous system. And this nervous system is, like I mentioned before, it can either be fight or flight or rest and digest. So our parasympathetic nervous system is calming. And when we are in a state of calmness, we can have our heartbeat be normalized, our digestion is normalized, our sex organs can be normalized, and everything is functioning the way it should. When we are having that stress response, it goes into that arousing state, that fight or flight, where our body thinks there is something that could eat us, and our heart starts to beat. We're not able to digest food properly. Our pupils dilate, and we are just ready for whatever. And there are some people, maybe you're one of them, and I for sure used to be one of them, that lives in a constant state of that sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight response. And for me, that came when I was working as an occupational therapist, and I was working full-time managing a rehab clinic, and on the weekends I was filling in, working more hours, and I wasn't taking care of myself, and my body thought I was in constant fight or flight response. My hair was falling out, my body was not digesting food, I was on the verge of an autoimmune disease, my skin was nuts, my mood swings were all over the place, and it was a response to the physiological and physical stress that I had outside of my body, causing this chain reaction of these hormones gone wild. So another example of real life stressors are things that happen that we don't plan. So this is an example of my actual little girl who was yelling at me, "Hey mama, mama, poop, poop, there's poop." So I come running in and see in her crib that there is stuff everywhere, and thankfully it was not real poop, it was fairy poop, and this was her fairy garden that somehow she had levitated over her crib, dumped it all over her sheets, and then told me that the fairies had pooped her bed. And at this moment, this was a stressor that had triggered a chain reaction in my body because I was all lined up for a very important day of meeting with people. I had things on my agenda that had to be done in a very timely manner. And sometimes kids, they just throw us that loop. And I could feel myself getting angry, and I could feel my heart beating really fast, and I could feel myself feeling that weight on my shoulders of how am I gonna get this all cleaned up before people get here, get the rest of the stuff I need done for the day, and just get it all done, right? So those triggers can be just daily life things. So one of the things that helped me was by taking a deep breath and using my oils. There is an oil that is called Adaptive, and this is designed for everyday stressors, whether you are feeling anxious on a daily basis or occasionally, or even having a really low mood. This is specifically designed for that. And I want to spend a moment to talk about the capsules that are on this screen. So the adaptive calming blend capsules help to stop that physiological stress response in our brain. So that trigger happens, and sometimes we can't avoid it. I couldn't avoid the fairies pooping my daughter's bed. Like it was happening, and I couldn't stop it. And that triggers that response. But the adaptive capsules have GABA in them and some other calming oils and selenium root, ahi flower that actually stop that trigger. So your body doesn't take it as an emergency, and you can allow yourself to take a step back and calm down. It's liquid zen is what I call it. When I take an adaptive capsule, it feels like the way I feel after I've done an hour or two of yoga, where I feel very centered, very present. And I can take one of those capsules, and it is zen to me. It calms me down instantly. They also have the adaptive oil, which is really lovely as well. So it works a little bit differently than the supplements. So the supplements have an effect on those pathways of the autonomic nervous system. This has more of a calming effect on your aroma, or on the limbic system via aroma. So when you inhale certain oils, they can actually affect the limbic system in your brain where your emotions lie. They can help increase serotonin levels. So a citrus oil will do that. And there is wild orange in here, which is one that helps to enhance the serotonin levels in the brain. There's lavender for calming. It smells lovely. This is one that we diffuse in my house frequently. And this is the adaptive system. You have the capsules when you need instant liquid zen on your brain. You have the oils where you can inhale it and you can get that calming effect as well. You can diffuse it, and you can also use the roll-on where you can put it on your pulse points. And the reason it's called adaptive is it's designed to help us to adapt to those situations in life which we cannot control. So this is one way to help decrease those hormonal triggers of stress that get those messengers mixed up and sending wrong signals to our body. Here's another example of some of the things that I do personally for stress. Some are oil related and many of them are not. So one of the easiest things that you can do is to breathe. And when we breathe, it can reset our autonomic nervous system. So something as simple as breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4, can have that effect. And when you pair it with an essential oils such as Breathe or Serenity, Adaptive, Rose, whatever your favorite one is, that is one of the fastest ways to change your state from a state of stress to a state of stillness, is by breathing in one of those essential oils. It's instantaneous. Another thing I like to do is to be out in nature, whether that's hiking, whether it's doing yoga. Just being outside helps to reset my brain, having some quiet space, even in the calm or the chaos of family life, really creating some personal space. There is a book that one of my friends that I used to work with wrote. His name is Michael Smith. There's a picture on the screen called Mindful Meditations for Anxiety, and there's 100 simple exercises that you can do for mindfulness to help just calm your brain. Some of them are really short and only take a couple minutes. Some are more of a ritual that you can implement that would take 30 minutes or so. And then I have a picture of a mala up there. These are malas that I love to make. I'll actually start teaching people how to make them, so watch for that. But it's a way that I use to relax and to help myself calm by using the beads. So these are a few simple ways that you can use your techniques to decrease that stress response that throws your hormones in a whirlwind. Next, we're going to move on to the foundation that we talked about for our hormone health. So we talked about stress response, and now we're going to talk about nutrition. And really, nutrition is the foundation for a lot of things within our body, and especially our hormones. So there's a lot of foods that can trigger hormonal imbalance, and they taste really good, and they're addictive, and it's part of a lot of people's diets, and it's sometimes hard to get them out. And some of the biggest triggers of hormonal balance is the consumption of coffee. And I know, guys, I used to be a more than once a time daily coffee drinker. I was actually a barista for 10 years, so I learned how to drink a lot of coffee. That's one of the biggest disruptors of hormone balance. Sugar is another one. Sugar is extremely addictive, and it's sneaking into just about everything. Fried foods, and then sugars and grains, like starchy grains. Think about white rices, white flours, things that don't have a lot of nutrients to them. These are some of the biggest offenders. And if you feel personally that food is one of your offenders for your hormonal imbalance, I would invite you to look up something called a Whole30. And a Whole30 is a concept of, for 30 days, you are eating whole foods. So you're eating fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, you're cutting out these sugars, certain grains, things of that nature, processed foods, and you're letting your body get into this cycle and this state ideal for healing and for homeostasis. So Whole30, I do one every year, at least once a year, and I feel so good after doing one that oftentimes when I start to bring different foods back in, I don't end up bringing in a lot of foods. I don't bring back in a lot of sugar. I don't bring back in coffee. I haven't had coffee for years, and I don't bring back in those fried foods. So just start with 30 days of reset and give your hormones a chance to reset. So check out Whole30, and I'm going to go through what you can do in the meantime, whether or not you're doing Whole30, to support that nutritional foundation. So one of the easiest ways is to kick food cravings using the Slim and Sassy oil. Now, sugar is a real serious craving, and the Slim and Sassy has an essential oil blend that helps with healthy metabolism. It helps to decrease those cravings, and it helps to have a really mild detoxification effect on the body. And so for me, what I do if I'm getting a sugar craving, I just put a little bit right on my tongue, like that. There's some peppermint in there. There's grapefruit and ginger and cinnamon. It tastes good. It tastes fresh, and you almost don't want to put anything else in your mouth, but it also just takes away that desire for sugar for me and for a lot of people. So that's an easy way to start to kind of combat those cravings and have a really simple tools. Just put it in your purse, pull it out when you feel like you need it, put a little on your tongue. You can also put it in water and drink it throughout the day. So if you have a glass water bottle, putting 3 to 5 drops of the Slim and Sassy and drinking it throughout the day is another way to help with those cravings. And just incorporating it into your routine and being mindful of those things. Hey, is this going to support my goal of healthy hormones, or is it going to take away? And just asking yourself before you eat things, is this moving me towards my goals or away? And starting to gather awareness around that process. What about that afternoon slump? Let's talk about that, because coffee addiction is a real thing, and I've been there, and I, for a long time, wouldn't have been able to function without coffee. And I bet some of you can relate, and I'm going to give you some solutions to what we can do, because the caffeine in coffee in particular, I mean, it's there in your, if you're drinking soda or things of that nature too, but especially with coffee, it triggers something in your adrenals. And your adrenals are what's responsible for those, one of the fight or flight responses. So adrenaline, you've heard of, that's a chemical messenger, a hormone that's pumping out, telling your body that we got to go, like there's something happening, and it puts your body in an elevated state of alertness. So before I say get rid of caffeine, I'm going to give you some options that still have caffeine, but they are not coffee. We are going to talk about a few of them. The first is going to be Mito2 Max and Wild Orange. So Mito2 Max is a supplement from doTERRA that has a lot of really good things in there that help support natural energy levels. There's CoQ10 in there. There's some ashwagandha, lots of things that help your mitochondria, so those little powerhouses in your cells, to function optimally. So this is something that you can take daily or as needed. So for me, I take one every single day. I just put it with my supplement pack, and I know that I'm good to go. If I'm starting to get tired mid-afternoon, which happens much less frequently than it used to, but if it does, I just take another one, and it gives me a natural energy boost. There is no caffeine. It doesn't feel jittery. It's just clear alertness, just clear focus. You can combine it with Wild Orange, which is really simple. You can put Wild Orange in your hand, You can even add peppermint oil if you like peppermint, so peppermint and wild orange or just the orange. And take a nice deep breath in, and that citrus aroma is going to peak in that limbic system, and it's going to help increase that serotonin in your brain and help you feel happy and energized again. Okay, and that cost of the Mito 2 Max is much less expensive than if you were drinking your Starbucks latte or your coffee or the energy drinks. And the cost on your adrenals and your hormones is so much more than what's shown here. So you can support those healthy adrenal glands, especially with that Mito 2 Max, and replace some of those disempowering solutions that you may have been using in the past. So sometimes you just want a warm cup of something in your hand. A great alternative that I started to drink when I gave up coffee is matcha. And matcha is basically ground up green tea leaves. So it's very concentrated green tea, so there is some caffeine in it. And it's a different type of caffeine effect than if you were to drink coffee. And when you try this, you'll feel the difference. It's instead of a peak and a drop, it's just kind of more of a sustained, equal alertness plateau. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not going to give you the jitters. At least most people, it will not make you feel jittery. And you're going to get all the antioxidants from green tea. Green tea has a lot of benefits already, and you're going to have it in that concentrated form. So you're just going to get a teaspoon of ceremonial grade matcha. Ceremonial grade just means it's a high quality tea. It does not have sugar added. A lot of matchas have sugar. If you're going to Starbucks or your favorite coffee house, most of those will already have sugar. So stay away from that type of matcha. You want to really have something that's sugar-free. I do a scoop of collagen powder, so that's extra protein. That's totally optional, but I like that. It makes it creamy. It helps me feel full and has extra protein. And then I do about 2/3 of a cup of almond milk. I don't measure it, just I usually do about half almond milk and half water. So I use unsweetened almond milk, which is what I would recommend. Mine's vanilla flavored, and I just pop that into my microwave for 30 seconds, half a cup of that almond milk. I heat up water with my electric kettle, and then I mix everything up with an electric whisk. And I highly recommend that you get one because it makes everything frothy like a latte, and it tastes so good. You're going to use it in everything, but just mix it all together, get everything. And then once you have it all mixed, then you add the hot water, because if you mixed with the hot water, it doesn't get as fluffy for some reason. Sometimes I like to mix up the flavors, and I'll add a drop of peppermint oil. So peppermint's great for digestion. It's also great for alertness, and or turmeric oil. So turmeric has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties that I really want to reap those benefits. So you can add one or both of those, or none at all. So the matcha has a very mild flavor. So any oil you put in is it's going to taste like that oil. So just figure out what flavor you want and what health effect, and have fun making your matcha latte. Another alternative in the PM, I love to make a turmeric latte, and this is just with ground cinnamon, collagen powder once again, which is optional, some unsweetened almond milk, and hot water. And so I, once again, just heat up my almond milk, about 30 seconds in the microwave. I mix in whatever mixings I want with that electric whisk. It's just handheld, makes it all frothy, and then top it with hot water and sprinkle it with cinnamon. So you can I add a couple drops of turmeric essential oil, and then sometimes I also add a drop of ginger. And there's just something nice about having a warm cup of something, right? If you're having a food craving, or you just want something in your hands to drink. Sometimes I find myself just eating or drinking out of habit versus something else. So you can use this as an alternative, and it has some really great health benefits as well. So let's talk a little bit about a specific gland called the thyroid gland, and this is called the master gland for a good reason. So your thyroid gland sends out hormonal messengers all over, and it controls a lot of things in your body, you guys. It controls your heart rate, your breathing, muscle mass. It can control your menstrual cycle, cholesterol, metabolism. So many things can be controlled by the thyroid gland. And unfortunately, a lot of people are being diagnosed with either hyper or hypothyroidism. And that can be coming from a lot of different places. And let's talk a little bit about thyroid health. So before I move to the next slide, some of the things that affect our thyroids can be things in our environment, whether it's chemicals from plastics, whether it's things in our environment that we're putting on our skin. So makeup, lotions, maybe our shampoos. It can also be the foods that we're eating. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a solution to help support a healthy thyroid. And this is a recipe that a woman shared with me that she was using for her thyroid. Now, she made this blend out of essential oils, and she was also taking something called Lifelong Vitality, which I'll talk to you about in just a moment. That's a supplement, and I know some of you are already taking it, but she used Lifelong Vitality. She started to replace some of the toxins in her home with doTERRA products, so getting rid of cleaning products, skincare products, and using non-toxic ones from doTERRA. And she also used this blend on her thyroid a few times a day. And she created one with frankincense, myrrh, basil, lemongrass, marjoram, and clove. And she put it in a roller bottle blend and topped it with fractionated coconut oil. And she did 20 drops of each of those. And for me, I've created this blend. I use 10 drops of each in mine. You can decide if you want to do 10 drops of each or 20 drops. I felt when there was 20 drops of each, there was hardly any room for fractionated coconut oil, but 10 drops of each fills it about halfway. So you decide what works best for you. But she was using that blend, and what she discovered is through her thermography scans that inflammation, so the red you see right around her thyroid, started to decrease from those lifestyle changes and from using this blend daily, so multiple times a day with her Lifelong Vitality. And she was able to get off her thyroid medications with the help of her doctor by using her empowered solutions that she was using through doTERRA. So that's a nice example of some options you have to support your thyroid gland. Another option that you have, and this is what she used in conjunction with her roller bottle blend that I just shared, is Lifelong Vitality. And this is the foundation to nutrition and health and wellness. And it's not just for hormonal health. It's not just for thyroid. This is really for everyone who wants to have a healthy foundation in their life. So it comes with a 3-part supplement. It is the #1 thing doTERRA sells for good reason. It has a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can use your bottles until they're gone. And if you don't get a desired response, you can return them for a full money-back guarantee. So it's pretty good stuff. There is a whole food-based multivitamin that helps you get your nutrients. I know that as our food and our soil starts to become over-farmed, our nutrients are not as robust as they used to be from food. So for example, the broccoli that I eat today and that you eat today is not as nutritious as when our grandparents had it, because our soil is being farmed. So it's more difficult to get all of our nutrients from food. There's also an omega-3 blend in there that helps support healthy brain function, neurological function. It helps with a healthy heart. And then you also have your cellular vitality blend, which helps to work with the mitochondria of your cells to be more efficient, to help your cells turn over at an appropriate rate, and to have natural energy. So this is the foundation that I really recommend for everyone that's seeking a wellness plan, or if you're seeking to bring your body back into homeostasis if it's been out of whack for some reason. And I know that this is one of the keys that I use to help when I was helping my body to repair itself and to edge back from that autoimmune disease and to really bring it back into a healthy level to where I could have a baby. So this was one of the many things that I was using, and I feel is really the foundation to our nutritional wellness. Let's talk now about our toxic load. So we talked about reducing stress, we talked about nutrition, and now let's talk about how we can decrease toxins in our environment. So there's a really good documentary that I recommend. It's called The Human Experiment, and it talks about the toxins we're exposed to on a daily basis, and that we're exposed to more toxins in one day than our grandparents were in their entire lifetime. And it's unavoidable. So we can't go around living in a paper bag. We are exposed to chemicals in the air, through the water we drink, the cleaners that are, in the environment, even if we're outside of our home, the things that are wrapped in plastics. It's just around us. So what we need to do is be aware of it and to be mindful of where we can decrease it in our own life, because our body is meant to detoxify things, but it can only do so much. So the more we pile on and pile on and pile on, the harder it gets for your body to release those toxins. And when it can't release them, we are more prone to disease and more prone to getting sick. And when we can decrease it where we can, then we can support our body in staying well. Another place that we get a lot of toxins is just through our beauty routine. And if you're a lady, typically we put an average of 515 toxic chemicals on our body each day. Now, if you're using doTERRA already, I know that number is way lower for you, but this is the reality for most women, and it for sure was for me before I discovered doTERRA. So think about the simple swaps that you can make of the hair care products that you're using, the skincare, the cleaning products. Where can you make some of those swaps to better options? And doTERRA has a lot of those things. We have great lotions and skincares and things that don't throw off our hormones. So a lot of those chemicals can produce something called estrogen dominance in people. And estrogen dominance can cause things like mood swings. It can cause infertility, low libido. It can mess up our menstruation. It can cause weight gain, headaches, different things like that. And estrogen dominance can be as a result of plastics, chemicals that we're using on our body, even some foods. And an easy way to help decrease that risk, besides what we've already talked about, is by, well, we talked a little bit about this. Let me revisit this slide where we can swap out things in our environment. So we can swap out for the Virage skincare collection. Okay, so that's a really great skincare collection by doTERRA that doesn't have the things that trigger hormonal imbalance. You can try the Balance deodorant, which I absolutely love. They have cleaning products. They have laundry detergent, hair care, body care. The On Guard toothpaste and mouthwash is so good. We can diffuse our essential oils to help neutralize some of the pathogens in the air and purify the air. We can use some of the essential oils to eliminate some of the things that used to be in our medicine cabinet that may not have been so good for us. So we have lots of empowered solutions to help decrease our risk of estrogen dominance. And we also have another product that I want to highlight called Phytoestrogen Complex. Now, this is a supplement that you can take, and it's designed to block xenoestrogens. So xenoestrogens are fake estrogens in our environment. So our body sometimes takes that plastic wrap or that chemical in our shampoo and thinks it's an estrogen. It's a chemical that mimics, it's a fake estrogen. So what this does is it actually blocks the receptors in our body, not blocks, it connects to the receptors in our body that are seeking outside fake estrogens, and it gives them something to seek, so that it kind of protects us from picking up those fake estrogens in our body and becoming estrogen dominant. So this is something that is great for women of all ages, whether you're in your menstrual cycle or you're past that stage of life. This is something that can help support healthy estrogen levels for you within your body. Another thing that you can use in conjunction with the phytoestrogen is the bone nutrient complex. Now, this is one that has vitamin D2 and D3, and it helps you absorb your calcium levels. If your thyroid is out of balance, it's really difficult to absorb the nutrients needed for healthy bones, even if you're getting them from food. So the combination of the phytoestrogen and the bone nutrient complex is helping to support that foundation for healthy bones within our body. Clary Calm is probably in my top 3 all-time favorite oils. So this is one that is specifically designed for healthy hormones. And this is the one that my husband calls new wife in a bottle for good reason. So this is really easy to use. This is one of the first ones I started to use. And I actually use it under my arms every day. So I put this on, and then I put my doTERRA deodorant over it. So it gets into my pores, and then sometimes I put it on my wrists, and sometimes I put it on my abdomen, but every day it goes in my armpits. And just from doing that, what I noticed is I no longer had periods so painful that it made me want to throw up. So that was what I used to get, such a joy, or headache so bad that I couldn't get out of bed. So I haven't had that since. So this is something I use every single day. This is my new wife in a bottle, my powerhouse, and it is specifically designed for hormone health. There's oils in here like clary sage, lavender, bergamot, Roman chamomile, cedarwood, ylang-ylang, geranium, fennel, carrot seed, palmarosa, and vitex. So this is a woman's hormone's best friend. If you are only going to pick one oil from today for hormone balance, it would be the Clary Calm. So there is a women's health kit that is for people who are already doTERRA members. So if you're not aware of this, it's already in your back office. It's already discounted. And we talked about a few products, and actually I have a few more bonus ones I'm going to tell you about for Libido because I told you I would. But you're going to notice that your libido may naturally enhance when you start to increase and decrease the things in our body that either support or throw our hormones out of balance. So we talked about the toxins, we talked about the stress response, and we talked about nutrition. So once you get that foundation set up, it's going to help support those naturally. But I'll talk about some other things we can do for hormones. But if you aren't aware, this kit is already in your back office. So you can get the bone nutrient, the phytoestrogen that blocks those fake estrogens, and the Clary Calm, which is your hormone balance in a bottle, for $69.50, and that's already available. It's only on LRP, so that's great news. That means that each time you purchase it, you're getting 10 to 30% back in free product points, so you're paying below wholesale already for that. So that's really great value, and not a lot of people know that's in the back office. So that's one of the kits that they put for you that is below wholesale. So let's talk about Libido, and I will share with you a few of my favorite oils and how to use them. So neroli, this is one that is very floral. It smells very feminine, lovely. It's used in some traditions to adorn the bed of newlyweds for good reason. And if you read some of the posts about neroli, there are doTERRA people that swear this is a baby maker. So not only because it boosts hormones, but they're saying it supports fertility. People who have had difficulty in the past with fertility, combining this with their Clary Calm oil and Lifelong Vitality, are noticing it's planting little baby seeds in them, and they are having babies where in the past they have not been able to. This is one, I was reading a thread about neroli, and there were people talking about when it came out at convention a couple of years ago. And there were a few people that said, we have our third baby or our fourth baby or whatever baby because of neroli at convention. So it's one of those oils that is very commonly used for libido. So you could just use it daily on your pulse points or on your abdomen. And a very feminine point is right here on your ankle. So if you do 4 finger widths above that little bone, it's a point for fertility and also for sex drive. So you can kind of stimulate that, put your oil there. That's a great place to put any of these oils if you're looking for a little female boost. The next one, let's talk about Whisper. This is an oil that is designed to work with your pheromones. You can use it on men or women, and you put a drop on behind your ears or on your wrist, and every single person will smell different. And you may smell different depending on where you are in your cycle. It's pretty magical. So some people will smell like chocolate, some smell floral, some smell spicy. And it's one that I cannot wear at home unless I have time to pay attention to my husband. He absolutely loves when I wear this. Now, rose is probably my go-to daily wear oil. If you see me out and about and I only have one oil on me, it's always rose. And rose is just one that smells very feminine, helps support healthy hormone levels, and also, I don't know, it's just my favorite oil. It's also really good for bacterial or viral funk. That's not to do with hormones, but that's one of the secret weapons people don't know about rose. So if you don't have any On Guard on you, you can use your rose. Ylang-ylang is a fun oil. This is kind of has a reputation for a lot of things, but sometimes you'll hear people say, put a ylang-ylang on your ylang-ylang, or use ylang-ylang for the bang-bang. So that just, I don't know what people are doing with it, but some people swear that if you put a little bit diluted with fractionated coconut oil, so 1 drop of ylang-ylang, a little bit of this. You can put it in areas for intimacy to enhance sensation. You can also put just one drop on the big toe. So I've heard people putting one drop on the big toe, and if you know about reflexology points, that kind of makes sense. That's the brain and the mind. So if it's quieting the mind, then sometimes it can increase our sexual arousal because our brain's not getting in the way with our thoughts. This is one that you can make maybe a luxurious body butter with and put it in some of your favorite roller blends. Jasmine is another good one for especially female hormones. It's great at toning the uterus, and it has a romantic smell to it. And clary sage is one that's best known for its overall hormonal support. So it's in the clary calm, which is one of the reasons I recommend it so much. Some fun recipes for massage or personal lubricant. You can take a screenshot of these if you don't want to write these all down. But this is a very easy way to make a personal lubricant. You can add essential oils. Well, first off, you can use just fractionated coconut oil. This is a very hypoallergenic way to use a lubricant, a personal lubricant, and then you can add oils to it if you choose. So here's an option. This is a 4-ounce bottle. You could add your lavender oil, peppermint, geranium, jasmine, lang lang, black pepper, cypress to this. And you can see how many drops are on there. Like I said, take a screenshot because I don't know if this recipe is anywhere else, but this is one that I make for friends around Christmas time, and they ask for it all year round. So definitely, if you're looking for something fun, make this and you'll thank me later. If you don't want to make one, sometimes in a pinch, the beautiful body mist makes a great substitute. Really, there's just coconut oil and avocado oil, some other things, and a few oils. So this is a really nice mild alternative as well to putting toxic lubricants on your special parts. Lip scrub, this isn't necessarily for libido, but it's nice to have soft lips for kissing and anything else you want to use your lips for. So equal parts of coconut oil and a granulated sugar and a couple drops of whatever oil you want. So you could use wild orange or peppermint is really nice because it will increase circulation and kind of plump your lips, and it feels really good. So just in a little tiny bowl, just half of a coconut oil, half of your sugar, a couple drops peppermint, and you can just use it as a little lip scrub and it'll be super soft. There's tons of diffuser blends you can try. Here's just a couple. Take a screenshot. You can see a lang lang is in both of them. So you see a theme, right? We have lang lang for the big bang bang. So it's going to stay true to its reputation, hopefully. You guys can be the judge of that. But there's a recipe with a lang lang, bergamot, and black pepper, or lang lang, wild orange, sandalwood, and cedarwood. So those would be really great ones to try in your diffuser to set the mood. Here's a roller bottle blend, a his and hers, that you can take a screenshot of and try as well. So you can use, the men's has patchouli, sandalwood, cedarwood, and lavender, or hers has peppermint, geranium, jasmine, lang lang, and lavender. So these are both diluted enough where if you chose to, you could actually rub it on your hand. So take your roller bottle, rub it on your hand, and then you could put it on your intimate parts, or you could use it on your wrists. Or remember that female point right here. Okay, that's an acupuncture point that's pretty well known. You can put it there or wherever you want it, wherever you like it, and then it smells good to you. So let's just wrap up what we learned today. Our final thoughts. If we want healthy hormones and lively libido, it really starts with the foundation of health. So we need to consider a few things. So we need to consider how to decrease our toxic load, how to support a healthy nutrition, and how to reduce that stress response. So today I would recommend you start with the Women's Health Kit in your LRP, and you get below wholesale pricing on that. It comes with that phytoestrogen that will decrease your exposure to picking up those fake estrogens in the environment. You also have the bone nutrient for healthy bones and the vitamin D2 and D3 and calcium. And you also have the Clary Calm, which is the #1 hormone balancing oil that doTERRA carries. So in addition to that LRP kit, then I recommend you add on things we talked about. So if you're looking at nutritional changes, can you incorporate Slim and Sassy to help kick those sugar cravings? And what about Mito2 Max for that natural energy? So you pick what you want to add to this kit. And then next, let's talk about minimizing our stress. So do you want to incorporate a yoga class or a weekly hike or some quiet time? Do you want to just remember to breathe in your favorite essential oil? Put rose on your hand or whatever it may be and breathe in when you feel stressed. Or maybe it's starting with the adaptive system and getting those adaptive capsules and oils to help decrease the physiological stress response within our body. And then adding on products to decrease toxins in your home. So getting rid of your toxic cleaning routine or your beauty routine and how you can up level that using some doTERRA products. And then finally, use your favorite libido oils daily. Choose a fun intimacy recipe to try from what we talked about today. And your hormone and libido ones will probably be different than mine. So find the one that you like. The one I use every day is neroli. I put that on my abdomen. I use the clary calm in my armpits, and I use the rose just because it's my favorite oil every day right here on my thyroid. So pick what you want to start to incorporate, make your own healthy hormone routine. And I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you, everyone. Bye.